Doma Sports Talk worldwide with some news from the world of boxing. So y'all know what time it is. You ain't in a rush to get concussed. Now, I'm late to the party, I did a video earlier about this, but it was just way too noisy. I was on the road and it was way too noisy. So I was like, man, well, whatever. I don't know if I want to even talk about the subject at all, but we gonna do it. We late to the party from your standpoint. Bottom line is, Jerome Boots Ennis stops your boy, I forgot his name, Lima already. Lima, he stopped him real in the first round. Everybody knows it now. Devastating knockout, came out in the orthodox stance, giving him a jab, giving him a few things, then just turned southpaw within, a minute or something. And 20 seconds after that, hit him with a right hook, then left and right and whatever. Got him out of there real easy like. A guy who's never been stopped before. So basically, the Boots bashing has backfired. Boots bashing has backfired, right? Now, me, a few of my favorite uploaders was, doing a lot of, getting going in on Boots pretty hard. And, I didn't, right? I'm in the middle when it comes to Boots Ennis, right? I'm in the middle, right? Boots Ennis, I can understand why Boots Ennis gets a lot of backlash because, he's in his 35th fight and, he's got to step up that competition. And if you're not going to mention, his promoter Eddie Hearn keeps mentioning Terrence Crawford. He's obviously, similar. He's obviously awesome. But don't mention Terrence Crawford because then you're gonna rub people the wrong way because he's not moving like Terrence Crawford. Not even how Terrence Crawford ever moved, ever. Right? A lot of people, because you don't know what you're talking about, you don't know those opponents, and you just seeing them on BoxRec and stuff like that. You're not knowing what's really or live through those opponents that Terrence Crawford had. Then you're just calling them stuff, right? They're just statistics to you. And so you don't really know what's up. But Terrence Crawford has been looking for the hardest fights, been trying to go after the hardest people, and they've been avoiding him. This is documented, and if you paid attention and cared, you would know that. So, and that's not the case with Boots, right? But me, I stay on the middle with Boots because I know he's awesome for one. He's going to get around to it for two. And I've seen worse from other fighters for three. And that's the most important one. You know what I'm saying? Like Boots is, he's gonna, at 147 pounds, he was trying to fight for Virgil Ortiz. That fight didn't happen because of Virgil Ortiz, for example. And at that time, Brian Norman wasn't there yet. Brian Norman's only like 23 right now. So Boots, it ain't like he been going around avoiding everybody. Of late, it looks that way. We know that he wants to go up to 154 now, and after he said it at 147, he said, he could make it totally comfortable. And then Brian Norman went out there and knocked out Sasaki, and then all of a sudden he said he's going up. Then even Devin Haney said, well, what's up? Can you come back to 147? He said, nah, I ain't coming back for you or Brian Norman Jr. So, okay, so that looks a little weird. And then, to go to 154, he needs a couple of tune-ups. The tune-ups are not for champions, not lineal champions at that. So those are the kind of things that, are troublesome. You put people, don't be calling him the best and taking the torch from Terrence Crawford, all those, superlatives we give him. So that's going to irk people. But at the same time, the reason why I don't go in on him too much is because, well, I'll wait. I'll wait because I've seen worse, man. From Mexican fighters. I've seen fighters get to the mandatory position and just basically say, something? The champion is too hard. I'm just not going to do that. I'm just not going to do that. And I'm not talking about, well, I'm not going to fight this champion. I'm the mandatory for two different sanctioning bodies, and I'll take the easier one. No, I'm the mandatory for one sanctioning body, but that champion's just too hard, and I'm not going to fight him. And these guys are glorified, and nothing ever happens. And here's the deal. For those who don't know what I'm about to tell y'all, is this. Name a black American boxer who made it to the mandatory status and didn't fight the champion, or at least want to fight the champion. Because I don't know one, and I've been asking this question for a long time. Nobody, no one ever answers, and no one even comes in and say, you know what? I thought about it, and I don't find one. It just crickets every time I ask that. So I'm asking it again. A black fighter who made it to the mandatory status and just said, you know what? That champion's too hard. I am not fighting him, and that's why I can't go in on Boots. Because listen, Virgil Ortiz is considered the best at 154 right now after basically losing the Boychek, or I think it was Boychek, and just getting a decision, right? Not fighting Terrence Crawford when he was Terrence Crawford's mandatory. He didn't take that. He wanted to go get a regular title for the WBA, but he was the WBO mandatory for Terrence Crawford. He didn't take that fight. That's Virgil Ortiz. Canelo Alvarez, the mandatory for Demetrius Andrade at 154 pounds. I'm just not doing that, right? And becomes the face of boxing. Virgil Ortiz is considered, like if he fights Jaron Ennis now, somebody gonna be telling Jaron Ennis that Virgil Ortiz is the A side. Watch what I tell you. Like he's never been a champion. They're gonna tell the champion he's supposed to be A side. If you don't believe it, wasn't Ryan Garcia the A side versus the undisputed champion in Devin Haney? Ryan Garcia had lost, never been a champion, gonna be the A side because of popularity over somebody who has the youngest undisputed champion in the history of the sport. That's what, and here's the thing. Ryan Garcia was Devin Haney's mandatory and said, I'm just not going to do it. I'm going to try to fight Gervonta Davis and them other ones that are easier, because he had a list of fighters and he said Devin Haney is the hardest one. And on that list was Lomachenko. Yes, Devin Haney is harder. Teofimo Lopez. Yes, Devin Haney is harder. Gervonta Davis. Yes, Devin Haney is the hardest one out of those. So I'm his mandatory, so I go get those guys before Devin Haney. That's what Ryan Garcia said. Think I'm finished, don't you? Jaime Munguia, the mandatory for Demetrius Andrade, said, nope, I'm not doing that. Messed around and slipped in and got a fight with Canelo, and Demetrius Andrade, the horrible fighter, didn't get one. So Jaime Munguia doesn't fight the horrible fighter. Canelo Alvarez doesn't fight the horrible fighter. They get together and fight for something, and the horrible fighter's out there in obscurity. So with all of that being said, I put it in perspective. Yes, I would like Jaron Ennis to step up his game, which he's going to probably do now. He's finally called some people out. But with all of that, I'd be damned if I'm going to be coming out here getting on him. Not hard. I've done a video or two, but that's it. Until these other people, because they get glorified. Nobody even mentions what I'm talking about here. Mexican fighters get to go up and say, nope, we ain't fighting this hard guy, and we're going to go around here. And the whole industry says, okay, well, you just do it. We ain't going to say nothing. Just go ahead. You know, we didn't say nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like Canelo. He just saying, I ain't fighting Demetrius Andrade for undisputed at 160 pounds. I just told everybody I wanted to be the undisputed champion at 160 pounds. That's too hard. I forget that one fight against Demetrius Andrade. I'm going to go up here and fight all these Eastern Europeans plus Caleb Plant and go up here at 168, which is not even a glamour division. That's a super middleweight division. That is not as glamorous as the middleweight division, right? All this stuff happens in daylight. So I can't get on Jaron Boots Ennis for taking his career a little slow, right? But then again, I ain't comparing this dude to Terrence Crawford, neither. You know what I'm saying? I ain't talking about he should fight Terrence Crawford, neither, because he doesn't deserve that. He's got work to do before we can even talk about that. By that time, Terrence Crawford would be up out of here. But no, he don't deserve that. But back to his point, he's definitely had an awesome fight against that dude, though. We got to give him that, y'all. But anyway, like I said, the Boots bashing has backfired because the dude he's awesome. You know, I mean, we can't just act like Lima ain't nothing at all. He took care of Lima and he's called some people out. So let's see what's happening going forward. Let's let's cut down on the bashing of the man. We do want him to fight somebody. But look, what I just said, go research what I just said. And those people, I don't care if it's Canelo, Jaime Munguia, Ryan Garcia, Virgil Ortiz, they all are glorified by their people and by other new Russians. You understand? So therefore, I can't get with it on the bashing. Feel me? Dortmund Sports Talk worldwide. And I'm out of here, y'all.